In this negotiation tip, we'll look at the power of time and information. All negotiations boil down to time and information, and what we know is this: the party that controls the time variable and the information variable has the power to control the negotiation. It doesn't mean you'll always win. What it does mean is you are in control and you have the power to win that negotiation. Let's take a look at the time variable first. Under the time variable, understand this: everyone has a deadline. Whether they share it with you or not, know that they have a deadline, and often the deadlines they give you are false deadlines. So don't be afraid to test their deadline in order to gain power. An example in our industry: buyer calls and says, I need this by 12 noon tomorrow. Test that deadline. Ask. Just ask in a nice way. Would it be possible for me to get you this avail 5 o'clock tomorrow night? 9 out of 10 times, we know the answer will be yes. You can wait till 5 o'clock. What you've done already is gotten the buyer to make a concession. You've added some fluidness, if you will, to the negotiation, and you've gained some power. Third thing about time is the more time someone invests in a negotiation, the more skin they have in the game, and the more they want this negotiation to end with a positive outcome. The more they're willing, if you will, to give up. Fourth thing on time: you need to constantly evaluate in your preparation and in your negotiation who time favors. And that will change as the negotiation goes on. As the negotiation proceeds, time will move back and forth from their side to your side. The more you can control the time variables, the more control you have over the negotiation. Share your deadlines only when it favors your position. That's pretty simple, but a very important note with time. And last but not least, when you create deadlines, you create desire. In other words, if you've got a special that only has 2 spots left in it, you share that with the client, their desire to get in there grows with the number of spots that you have remaining. As your spot count goes down, their desire goes up. So create deadlines throughout the negotiating process on inventory, on specials, on rate going up. All of these deadlines create more desire for what you're selling. That's how you control the time variable. Let's take a look at the information variable. You need to gather as much information as possible prior to the negotiation. Once you get into the negotiation, any information you gather is probably going to have a little spin put against it. You give information to the other side in small bits, and you need to give that information prior to the negotiation. Test your assumptions. We all go into negotiations with assumptions, good and bad, about what the outcome will be. You need to test those assumptions, because more often than not, you find that your assumptions were incorrect. Use the power of authority. People defer to people who have positions of authority. Become an expert in something. By becoming an expert in something, it adds to your authority and it gives you more power in a negotiation. Maybe you're an expert in the Nielsen ratings. Maybe you're an expert in marketing. Maybe you're an expert in negotiations. But become an expert in something and use that to gain authority, and use that to gain control and to gain power in a negotiation. And with information, the less information you're given, the higher your demand. So if a client comes to you or an agency comes to you and says, we have a buy-up and we're not going to tell you our cost per point, we're not going to tell you how much money we have to spend, submit a package, you go in at the highest rate possible going in, because that will ultimately get you more information. And last but not least, when it comes to you giving information, any information you share, put it in writing. We know that information that's put in writing has far more credibility than information that's shared orally. There it is, the power of time and information. You control that, you control the negotiation.